there thinking that I don't want to follow someone shorter than me. But I don't want to follow Amy because that was an amazing story. I want you guys to imagine living in a world where there are superheroes with superpowers. There are genies and witches with magical powers. And I want you to think of all the women that are sitting around you. My name is Sara Bingham.
I know.
But you can say it in any accent that you want because I love it. Typically when I start a discussion or start a talk, I say that I am Sara Bingham, I'm the founder of We Hands and the author of the baby signing book, but I'm not doing that tonight. Unless you want to learn how to sign Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and I can do that. But my name is Sara. I am adopted. I am biracial. I am half Jamaican and half Scottish, which is a really interesting mix. And I was raised in Northern Ontario. So I am a Sioux girl. This year, in March, I turned 50 years old. So if you... So if you do the math really quickly, I was born in 1966. And I grew up in the 70s and early 80s as a little girl, not too little girl. I'm 5'10", so I'm not little. But we were probably the first latchkey generation. We played outside a lot. I have two kids who have not played outside a lot, and I'm very sad about that. But we also watched a lot of television. And we watched television on 12 channels. We had 12 channels. And I want to tell you about some of my favorite shows in the 70s, besides Cher, because I love to do that. But one of my favorite shows was Wonder Woman. It ran from 1975 to 1979. The myth of Wonder Woman has been around for years and years and years. But I love the Linda Carter Wonder Woman. Nodding your head, I love it. So I want you to imagine being able to be incredibly strong. You can fight off bullets with your magic bracelets. You can get anyone to tell you the truth with their magic lasso. And I don't even want to talk about the invisible jet because that's really cool. The other show that we ended up watching, my sister and I, a lot, was I Dream of Jeannie. And I want to read, if you'll indulge me for just a little bit, if I can find it. I Dream of Jeannie was started in 1965, so it's actually older than me. And the description for the show is rescued from a bottle and a deserted island by a U.S. astronaut, a scantily clad genie named Jeannie becomes his slave and eventually falls in love with him. But unlike most genie stories, there are no 3 wishes rule, so Jeannie uses her magic all the time, often without talking to her rescuer, her master, about it first. As a child, I didn't see Jeannie as a slave. I dressed up as a genie many, many times for Halloween and wore just about every one of my mom's scarves when I was doing that. I didn't see her as a slave. I saw her as somebody who'd got and did whatever she wanted, as often as she wanted, but she got in trouble for it. The other show that I watched was also a little bit older. It was Bewitched. I love that you guys are shaking your heads. It's awesome. Bewitched was definitely older. It started in 1964, and the description that I got from it, completely 1964 language. Samantha falls in love with New York ad exec Darren Stevens and seems to be the luckiest gal alive when she marries him in the first episode of the sitcom. That's when her story starts. Then he finds out that Sam is one of a secret society of powerful witches and warlocks and that a twitch of her nose brings magic results. Thoroughly befuddled, Darren makes her promise never to use her powers and to be a 1960s housewife. I want you to imagine if you could wiggle your nose and you can make things happen, you can get whatever you want, you can go wherever you want. Or you can, I'm just gonna do this. that. And also get whatever you want and go whatever you want. These were powerful women. Wonder Woman had to be a secret, Jeannie had to be a secret, and Sam from Bewitched had to be a secret. They were incredibly powerful, and they couldn't use their powers. I want to go fast forward a little bit until my last year of university. I did not go to the University of Waterloo. I'm sorry. I am a very proud Carleton and Ottawa U grad. Thank you. My last year at university, I did my degree in psych, and my first semester in my last year, I took a social psych course, and one of my profs, Fran, who is one of my mentors and one of my guides, she knew my story, that I was biracial, that I was adopted, and she asked me to be in a specific seminar course that she created. She called it at the time Psychology of Black Women, just because she had to call it something. That semester, I took Psychology of Black Women, I took Women in Psych, and I took Women in Modern Christian Traditions. I was very pissed off that entire semester. I was not a happy person to live with because I was very feisty. But I loved that course. Fran took about 8 to 10 of us, and we took the course in her living room on Wednesday night. She ordered pizza, and then we talked about the readings that she shared with us, and she's actually going to be sending those to me in a couple of weeks. The reason Fran wanted to study Black women and Black history and Black culture was because she had finished her PhD in the US, and at the time in the 70s, she wanted a baby. But she was a single woman, and she wanted to adopt a baby. The only type of baby she could adopt in the 1970s as a single woman was a hard-to-place child. So the little boy that she adopted is also biracial. So when she saw my story, she was like, okay, I have to learn more about where Sarah's journey was. After I graduated, I did a non-identifying search for my birth parents with Children's Aid. And sometimes I'm a little flighty, and my family will acknowledge that. And I checked off the wrong box on that non-identifying search that I did. And I actually checked the box for an identifying search. So a couple of weeks later, I got 16 pages of my history with names, my birth story, who everybody was, and where everybody was. So at the time, I thought I was from St. Lucia, which is just a really cool place. And I remember calling my friend Rachel and saying, oh my God, Rachel, I'm Jamaican. And I have been to Jamaica a few times, but as a person who looks like they are from the Caribbean and Jamaica, but grew up in Northern Ontario, when Jamaicans start speaking patois to me, I don't understand anything that they're saying, and I can't speak it back. So that's also very sad for me. What I found out was my birth parents' names. And this was the very start of this thing called the internet. And I know there's a varied age in this room. So the dial-up sound is what I heard when I started my search. I searched the names, I searched where they were. I knew that my birth mother was living in Bermuda at the time. My birth father was in Jamaica. And for some reason, I did another search and found, I need a graph almost for this. I found my birth father's cousin's son at a university in Florida. And I found a picture of him. And I knew Fran was going to be really interested in my story because she'd been so encouraging to me. And so I immediately grabbed the picture from the website and sent her the picture in the website. And I just emailed and I said, Fran, this is my cousin. And his name was Shamari Terralange. And about 2 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was Fran. And I had emailed her, and she phoned me. I was like, oh, what's going on here? She said, Sarah, I hope you're sitting down, but when I was doing my PhD in the US, when I adopted my son, my best friend was Pauline Terralange. So my prof's best friend, I think, was my second cousin. And Pauline's son, my cousin, played with Fran's son. So there is a connection there. Fran. I recently reconnected with her and spent a weekend with her in Ottawa, and she got to tell me a little bit more of my story. My birth father is in Jamaica. I have met my birth mother. I met my birth mother when my own son was the same age that when she gave me up. And that was just a little strange for me. And there wasn't really a connection there. But my birth father has been in touch with me quite a bit. And this past summer, I spent a weekend with Fran, and she said, you know, Sarah, when we were undergrads in Toronto in 1965, I hung out with your birth mother, with your birth father, with your birth father's cousin Pauline, my best friend, and we hung out in 1965. I was born in March 1966. Towards the end of 1965, we realized that John Alexander was my father. His girlfriend had stopped drinking, and this was the 60s, so they were doing a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get my PhD because of them. But they did realize that this woman, who was 19 years old, stopped drinking towards the end of 1965. And they gossiped about why she did that. And she stopped drinking because she was pregnant. And she was pregnant with me. So tonight we've been talking about guidance and mentors. And the person that I wanted to talk about was and is Fran Cherry, my prof from Carleton. I met her in 1992, so I've physically known her for 23 years, and she's been inspirational to me. She's been incredibly knowledgeable, and she's been incredibly supportive. But I met her physically in 1992, but I knew that she's always been there for me since 1966, before I was born. And we talk about superpowers and magic, and if the story of somehow Fran being in my life is to me, that's magical. I also we've all been sitting here for quite some time. Yes. I want you guys to actually stand up. You're actually doing it. I was so worried. Okay, you're standing up. I'm so amazed I got you guys to do this. I want you to put your hands on your hips. Your feet are slightly askant. Do you guys know what you're doing? I want you to tell me what you're doing. You're doing this Wonder Woman pose. So I told a story about one woman that was in my life. I could stand up here and tell you many, many more stories of women who have superpowers to me, who have been magical, have been incredibly supportive. Hopefully I've been magical and super supportive to them as well. And I want you to look around the room and imagine a space where there are superheroes in the room who have superpowers. And that's where we all are. Thank you.